Good afternoon. This is a Hurricane Irma live 2 p.m. update. I'm here with Ryan Gillespie and Michael Williams for this update. As of right now, the storm is a tropical storm. It has weakened down to 60 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and run over here with Ryan to find out where the storm is and what we can expect from it as it moves farther up out of the state.
Yeah, Irma has basically left us. There's still some wind up there, but Irma is now a tropical storm. Tropical storm Irma is 55 miles east of Tallahassee right now, kind of working its way across the Florida-Georgia line up into the South Georgia area. Winds are about 60 miles an hour. States that might not be used to seeing tropical conditions will soon be seeing them.
Yeah.
People were joking earlier that a state like Missouri is in the cone. So
So
Irma's making her way north and is basically left central Florida.
Okay, considering, what it's done here, we've had some serious damage as far as with trees down, power lines, power outages. So something at 60 miles per hour like this storm moving up into the area still could have some damage. But for the now, it seems like we're in that aftermath part where we're going to start picking up the pieces. And I want to go ahead and point out, as we're talking about that aftermath here at the Orlando Sentinel, all information on OrlandoSentinel.com storm-related is available for free. So go ahead and take a look at that. Keep up to date with as news comes in. We're keeping it up to date, and we're out in the field. So go ahead and use that as a resource. Also, I'm going to go ahead and swing over here to Ryan as far as with power outages. That's kind of the big news right now. It seems like a lot of people still out with power, and kind of can expect that for a while now.
Yeah, there are a ton of people without power, both in Central Florida and across the state. Hurricane Irma knocked 6.2 million people out of power across the state. Locally here, so Orange, Seminole Lake, Brevard, Osceola counties, we're at 750,000 people without power.
Right.
And utility companies that we spoke to this morning are cautioning it may be like that for a few days.
Okay, so a lot of people out in the state, so it's going to take some while for them to get back to working. I mean, and just even figuring out where it is and where they need to get to get that power going. I know some of the main items like hospitals, main places like that are probably first on the list before they start working down the chain.
Right, yeah. The priority things for utility companies were to get the police, the fire, and the hospitals back up to speed. I spoke to the Kissimmee Utility Authority this morning, and they were promptly able to get Osceola Regional Medical Center and Florida Hospital Kissimmee back online this morning. The good news for people who are on those same grids is that means you have power as well.
Okay.
So that is the priority for now. Really what these utility companies are dealing with right now is this mass situation of everybody in Central Florida got hit with this thing.
Right. Yeah.
So you've got damage all over the place. They're really in an assessing stage at this point. So the way it was explained to me is currently there are crews in the field basically just assessing damages.
Okay.
And they're sending as much information in real time as they can back to these headquarters.
Okay.
So then when the crews go out, they know what they're dealing with and hopefully can speed the process up along. But it's probably going to be a week or maybe even more for some people from what I'm hearing.
Okay, we hope it doesn't hang out that long, but we do have a lot of power outages, and it could be some time before it gets back on for some neighborhoods. Actually, one of those neighborhoods we're going to go ahead and send out to is with Kayla O'Brien. It's in West Orange County in the Pine Hills neighborhood of Orla Vista. Orla Vista, we had some flooding there last night. Kayla, how are you? How are things over there?
Yeah, there's still a lot of flooding here, as you can see. It's about to my ankle, and we had photographers out here earlier that said it was up to their waist, and they're about my height, so you can imagine how much water was here earlier today. It has been receding. It's actually moving pretty quickly, as you can see on the ground. If we zoomed or pan down to the ground real quick, you can see the water is actually going pretty fast. There's been trucks coming through. We've seen a few go in both directions, and they've made it through. Cars have not tried. I think they don't want to take that risk, but we've also seen people walking and wading through this water. And as you can pan over there, Chris, there's someone in their pickup truck right there. You can see the tires are submerged in water. He's kind of hanging out. A lot of people are in their yards. They're talking to their neighbors and kind of just talking about this water and how crazy Irma was last night.
Now, was this some of the neighborhood that was actually evacuated last night? I know the National Guard had to come in and remove some individuals. Is this the area where that happened?
This is exactly where that area was, and it's 550 homes were evacuated, 149 people, and they were taken to Gotham Middle School, which is a shelter. A lot of people here didn't know or didn't expect this type of water to be here, and obviously it's not safe. In some homes, there were pets left behind. People had to be rescued by the National Guard, like you said, and firefighters, so it was a big problem.
Any word on when those individuals can start making their way back into that neighborhood?
We have not heard official word yet out here in the field, but as we heard before, that the water has receded very quickly, so we assume as soon as the National Guard comes in and assesses the damage and sees which homes are safe to go back into, I think it's going to be a case-by-case basis of which homes were damaged to the point of you can't go back right now and which ones are okay to go back into.
All right, well, thanks for that, Kayla. Be safe out there. I know as you're getting these conditions and many others that are out taking a look and assessing, I know be safe for sure because there's a lot of danger still out there, especially in those standing waters like that. You need to stay away from power lines, things like that. This is that time where, this storm could still be dangerous. I want to go ahead and point out right now we are monitoring our social media feed. It's live, so go ahead and put in questions and we'll get those up to date. We'll answer them as they come in and try to keep you up to date as we get information. And I'm going to go ahead and over to Todd Stewart here. He's monitoring those social feeds. So, Todd, any question as far as that we can handle right now and take on?
Yeah, I think so. As the days have gone on, first it was about when's it going to hit, when's it going to be past us, then it was power. Now the predominant question is curfews.
Right.
I think people are getting a little cabin fever. So do we have any updates on curfews?
Actually, we do. Michael Williams is here, and he's tackling curfews. So let's go ahead and send it over to you, Michael. What do we have on curfews right now?
So the only two Central Florida counties that have active curfews right now are Orange and Osceola County, and those curfews are going to be until 6 o'clock p.m. Now down in Volusia County has a nighttime curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., so they don't want people on the roads at night. Seminole and Lake counties both had curfews earlier this morning, but they have been lifted, so all citizens are free to travel wherever they want to. In Brevard County, there was never like a county-wide curfew, so just check your individual cities on the Brevard County Emergency Management website, just to be sure. Just to be absolutely clear, law enforcement agencies can make arrests if citizens are out during curfews. Now, I've called every sheriff's office in Central Florida, and it seems like the only agency that is actually making these arrests is the Orange County Sheriff's Office. So far, they have made 11 arrests for curfew violations, and out of those 11, 3 are actually facing burglary charges. Now, what I found was interesting is that in a state of emergency, burglary charges, which are normally misdemeanor charges, are actually reclassified as no bond felony charges. So they don't want people out there looting. They don't want people, burglarizing unoccupied homes and stuff like that. So even if there's not a curfew in place, people should, just make sure that they're taking the utmost caution they can. Just crews are assessing whether power lines are damaged, whether roads are damaged, whether trees are going to come down. So just be careful.
Yeah. And as someone who was pulled over earlier this afternoon while making some rounds, I can vouch that Orange County and Orlando Police Department are enforcing the curfew.
Yeah, and it seems like quite a bit of people out there as far as with the curfew. It seems like they're out and about. Okay, we're going to go ahead and shift gears now. I'm going to go ahead and send us out to, actually, Kayla O'Brien again. She was out earlier today to a neighborhood in Orlando where a tree had fallen through a house, and she met with the couple there. We're going to go ahead and send it over to this package.
I'm standing here inside a living room at an Orlando home in the Conway area, and as you can see behind me, a tree has gone through the roof. It happened last night during Hurricane Irma around 1:30 in the morning. As you can see, it caused a lot of damage, including a small fire that was going on last night, had to be put out by some local neighbors. And I'm standing here with the homeowner, Phyllis Walters. So can you just kind of tell me what happened? It happened around 1:30 in the morning, right when the storm was really kicking up.
Well, I'd been hearing some bangs and everything. I felt a little bit of a vibration, so I got up and started checking out the windows to see, if something had fallen and hit. And I walked in to our French doors in there to look out on the sunroom. And the next thing I know, I'm screaming at the floor, and the wall came down and hit me on the shoulder, and that's what you see, what's left.
And then a small fire actually started sparking.
Yeah, once my husband, he was asleep, him and the dog were asleep, and once he got up in here, went running out to go get the water hose, and when I came back around, my knight in shining armor was here, knocking on our door, wanting to know where we were at. And he came in and helped us contain the fire. We had to pull the other hose from the back in, and that one, and then we pulled the fire extinguishers out. So we eventually got it out.
Yeah, and your neighbor Gene Workman's here with us too. So you really got into action. You saw something was going wrong and you jumped over here. Tell me what was going through your mind when you saw the tree fall.
Well, I was actually napping right before the heart of the storm came, so I would be up and ready, when the storm really came through, when the eye came through. And then my lady said she heard this big boom, and we knew that the big tree went down. So I looked through the garage window, and I looked over to Mrs. Phyllis's house, and I saw the big tree down, and then I saw flames. So I grabbed my helmet, I grabbed my axe, and I just ran over, and I told her, look, call 911, which I know, they were busy and they couldn't come out, or, because of the wind of the storm. And I just came in here. I said, no matter what, I'm going to come in here for Miss Phyllis and Mr. Terry. I wasn't more concerned about the fire. I was concerned about their life because, like I said, they were our neighbors. And I just came in and I rapped on the door 3 times. And the 3rd time I rapped on the door, I was stepping back to kick the door in, and Miss Phyllis came around the corner, and she's like, it's open. So I opened it. I had my fire extinguisher. Mr. Terry was already in here with a hose, and me and him beat the fire down as best we could, and opened up the door so it could ventilate. But my main concern was my neighbor's life and, her husband, and, their dog. So, we knocked the fire down as best that we could. And, I just did what any average human being would do for their neighbor.
Yeah, and it's actually on the anniversary, September 11th. This is not the first time you've helped people on this day. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I'm also a September 11th survivor and responder. And, my prayers and blessings go out to the families because, we'll never forget. So it was a little emotional for me. I've been in Florida for almost 16 years now, and I do love Florida. But we love our neighbor more. So I came in here with my intentions of getting them and, saving their lives. And again, I have to reiterate, I'm just a regular guy, and this is what you do for your neighbors.
Yeah, you definitely did save them. And Phyllis, what are your plans now? Where are you going to head? Are you're not staying here, obviously.
No, we've got a hotel room for a couple of nights now, and then once we get with the insurance, we'll try to find a place because it's going to take a while to get this fixed.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Well, thank you for bringing us into your home, and this is just some of the wrath of her.
Yeah, some of those scary moments that you see that with these trees and some of these items like this in the aftermath. And that's not the only case. There was a case in Claremont. Ryan, let's talk about that, where a tree actually came through a home as well.
Yeah, as the wind started whipping from Irma about 1:30 this morning over in Claremont, there was a guy, a 23-year-old man in a house, and a limb or a branch from a tree crashed through his roof and actually trapped this guy in his house. Luckily, Claremont firefighters were able to get there they braved the weather and were able to get there and were able to safely get him out. He's in surgery. The last reports we have is he was in surgery for pretty severe injury. So hopefully he makes it through. But it was a great job by firefighters to be able to get there and make that rescue. Yeah,
and hearing the rescues like this, whether it be firefighters or even neighbors, these are those moments where we kind of realize, the community coming together and helping each other. And in this aftermath, we know we're going to hear more of those stories, and we're going to see it as the cleanup happens. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Todd here. Let's talk about social media.
Well, right now, all the responses to the piece we just saw from Kayla O'Brien, they loved that story. The gentleman featured in it. We've got comments from "What an awesome neighbor." The man is a hero. Yeah. He's so awesome. So I think people like to see those kind of feel good, neighbor helping somebody out stories. So that really resonated. On the news front, question we've got a couple times, most recently from Beverly Eden, any updates on MCO? And I went to their Twitter page. They have an official update. And they're officially closed and reassessed, like a lot of places, assessing damage when it's still pretty gusty out there, when it's safe to fly. But they haven't yet announced when that will be. But at this moment, they're still closed.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about some other closures. Ryan, let's talk about schools, because right now schools probably remaining closed.
Yeah, they will remain closed in Central Florida over the next at least day.
Okay.
Nobody has school tomorrow on Tuesday.
Okay.
Volusia County has already announced that they will close their schools on Wednesday. And honestly, the reasons for that are relatively obvious. They're assessing damage to their own facilities. Some schools are without power. In Volusia County, there are about 4,000 people that are still using their schools as shelters. And the other thing that we might not think about is a lot of these school employees are actually workers at the shelters as well. So these people also need time to assess their own homes and make sure their families are okay and things like that. So no school Tuesday, no school Wednesday in Volusia County, and stay tuned to OrlandoSentinel.com. I'm sure we'll have updates as more information is available.
Yeah, let's touch on theme parks. That's another thing. Trying to get back to business as usual. How are theme parks handled here in Orlando right now?
The easy answer is we're just not sure yet. Disney hasn't quite said. They're in this weird position where they also have to assess damages. They said that they were able to maintain power throughout the storm, but to operate their rides and to have their workers come to work and things like that, they need the tropical storm force winds to subside a little bit. And anybody who's been outside, even this morning as the storm has passed, there's still some gusty winds.
Yeah, still some gusts. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and point out again, OrlandoSentinel.com is giving all hurricane-related, storm-related information out there for free, so go ahead and use that. We are keeping it up to date. We are out in the field, and we were getting information as we get it online, so go ahead and use that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Todd for some more questions. Let's talk about that, social media.
Again, love the interaction with people, and they're still asking about curfews. More people they're just tuning in, asking about curfews, so maybe we have Michael run it through one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just rehash it. So the only two counties that have active curfews in Central Florida right now are Orange and Osceola counties, and those are both until 6 p.m. Volusia County has a nighttime curfew that goes from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So right now there's a night curfew, but around 10 p.m. people will want to start getting off the streets and into their homes. Both Seminole and Lake counties have lifted their curfews this morning, so there's no restrictions in place as far as that. And then for Brevard County, there was never a county-wide curfew, but you're going to want to check your individual cities on the Brevard County Emergency Management website just to make sure.
Okay, all right, well, good information there. As of right now, just a recap, the storm is a tropical storm now, 55 miles east of Tallahassee. It is 60 miles per hour. It's running at 17 miles per hour speed-wise, and, heading towards South Georgia at this point. So, it is still a pretty significant storm, but clearly out of Central Florida, so that's a good thing. I also want to go ahead and point out all information again on OrlandoSentinel.com. Stay there. We're giving everything for free right now, so in this aftermath, as we're getting information, it's going up there, and please go ahead and use that. And we'll be back again at 5:15 for our next live update. So from the Orlando Sentinel, we'll be back soon.